What is up? It's the Figure Hunter, and today we're going to do a review for the Amazon Halo device. It is a small little sleek band that now comes with the screen, and I am genuinely blown away by this device. So I'm going to actually share at the outset that I think this is the single most affordable and comprehensive wellness device on the market to date. So if you like this review, please give it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing for more. So when I bought this, I tested the original Halo. I used some of the features, but just sort of put it away for a year. And now that the new device has a screen, they're $80. And sometimes you can get it on a discount if you're an Amazon Prime member. I saw an offer for it for $20. I missed the offer deadline, but still 80 bucks is really cheap. You basically get, there is a subscription service that is on the back end, but you get it free for 12 months. And then it's $4 a month after that. So when I look at this device and I really broke down the feature set, here is what it includes. 7 primary wellness features to benefit your life. I'll say at the outset as well that this is not a training and rigorous workout watch. It is a wellness, mind, body, health watch and device. And it's all a lot driven through the app. But the 7 things that it features daily activity with workout tracking. It does do that, but it also has workout videos, everything from high intensity interval training to yoga training. It has sleep analysis for every night's sleep, all the way down to temperature variation. But the cool thing about it is it includes meditation specifically to help you fall asleep and prepare your mind for better sleep. 3, it has nutrition. And more than that, that I thought was super cool is it develops a menu with recipes, whether it's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and snacks, and develops a meal plan and adds it to a shopping list. 4 is a mobility assessment where it uses the camera on your phone to assess your mobility across different movements and give you a score, and then give you recommended videos to increase mobility in certain parts of your body. 5, it has tones where it actually picks up the sound of your voice after you train it, and then it'll listen to your tones throughout the day to see as a somewhat evaluation of your stress level throughout the day, as well as how you might sound to others and be coming across. 6, it has a body analysis, a 3-dimensional scan using the phone, the camera on your phone to be able to evaluate your body fat density content and some other metrics and give you a projection of how it might look if you actually lost weight, how your body might change in its definition. And then 7, it has a library of meditation and mindfulness things that you can go through. So we're going to dive into each area. You're going to see the app along the way, but I want you to stop and think about everything I just shared. All 7 things. The device is $80 and has a big, bright AMOLED screen, which I have found to be perfectly functional. It lasts 5 days of battery life, but it has, we're going to look at it. So we're going to dive into it each one at a time. One thing I forgot to mention before we get into the 7 primary areas, we're going to actually look at the device and the data simply you can use and see on the device. So we're going to do a little brief excerpt on the device itself and how it looks and how it functions and what primary things you get on that, and then most of those 7 primary areas we're going to look at in the app. I'm going to show it next to the original Halo, which just has this sort of pop-off band and is a basic sensor with a single button. This was actually a good all-around device that included some of these primary features, but not the full list. So if we look at this, let's get it actually pressed down. It has a big, brilliant AMOLED screen. We'll get the glare out of the way, and you swipe through and you can get just a series of different things. Everything has worked and functioned incredibly well. The touchscreen has functioned well. This is the back button. This will take you back 1 level. So one thing I like about the back button is if you're 3 levels in on a certain area, it doesn't take you all the way back to start. It just takes you 1 level up. So you swipe through, you get messages. You can see your messages perfectly clear. You back up, settings, you can sync it, night mode. It's got, it can disable the brightness of the screen, turn on do not disturb, simple settings like that. Now playing, so you can control music on your phone. Oops. Now playing, control music. The tools are really simple lineup. You have an alarm. It has haptic feedback and it buzzes. That's how it wakes you up. A timer and a stopwatch. Nothing super technical there. The exercise is pretty good, so it has pretty simple summary of things. It does not track GPS, but it has all the primary things you might want. And I like the fact that it has fitness training with a little kettlebell and high intensity interval training. the high intensity interval training is not going to do anything special. It's basically just going to track your workout. So, and then data. So this is where you can see your summary of information from the day. The activity, actually, I like that it's tracking a week at a glance at how overall active you were by looking at the week total as well as the activity points you accumulated today. That comes from steps, that comes from movement, and you actually get a negative activity points if you're sedentary and sit for too long, your overall calories, and there's the sedentary time. So apparently I was not as active today for the 9 hours and 45 minutes, but I did a good workout, 136 points. You can see your sleep assessment. So it goes through the different stages, the percentage of stages. I found it to be spot on with when I fell asleep, when I woke up. I like that it actually tells you how long it took you to fall asleep, your overall disturbances, skin temperature variation, and then how much you were awake. And it gives you an assessment in the app that we're going to look at individually. Your heart rate and the pulse ox. Now, the pulse ox, I found to continue to give me a high pulse ox rating, which is high blood oxygen level, which is 99% to 100. It's basically just a spot check. So you just do basically took 10 seconds. Sit still, do the pulse, but it doesn't apply it to, your sleep to see how your blood oxygen was throughout your sleep. And that is it. So you can touch this, it'll give you a date. You can touch it again, it'll give you your activity for the day, your overall sleep goals, and then it'll go off. So super simple device. When you look at the device itself, it is really sleek and slender. It's about the size of the Fitbit Inspire. I think it just, it does a lot of things incredibly well. You see the heart rate sensors. This band, if I was going to have one complaint, and I probably will forget to share this in the summary, the band is a big pain in the butt. So you have to snap it in here, obviously like some of the old school Apple Watch bands, and you got to slide it in, and it's just a pain in the butt to slide it in. But once you get it in, once you get it on, it's 5 days of battery life. That's been working fantastic, and it is very, very, very comfortable, very, very light. The rubber is actually very good, and I just wish they would develop alternative band options so that I could strap it on like a watch band instead of just this weird confangled configuration. So with that, let's dive into each of the 7 areas. Looking at the basics when it comes to this, you have points that you accumulate. So now we're looking at daily activity, workouts, things like that. So you have points you accumulate and steps, basic things like that. You can dive into it and you can see how many points you accumulated today, and off to the right, you can see how many points you accumulated this week. And it goes into how active you were per time. You can see it even gave a negative sedentary. So obviously I wasn't sedentary for 9 hours like it said, so there might be a glitch with one minor point, but it will detract points in how much you accumulate based on how sedentary you were. So you can see, well, the first thing we'll see is just how it looks on a workout. So this workout was much more intense than this. It was a tough workout, and you can see that the heart rate graph actually spiked up towards 171 beats per minute and kept that intensity high in that mid portion of the Metcon, and it didn't pick it up. It picked up that I was doing more intensity in that middle first portion, but it just capped out. It dropped a lot along the way. But in general, I think it's going to work just fine for basic activities. This was a very rigorous, very wrist flex heavy workout. And, that's what you're going to get with a wellness focused device. So you can see like it sets goals for what you want to set as a target, very active, heart healthy, or lightly active. You can set custom goals. And then the other thing is it tells you how much time you spent in different heart rate zones, how much intense activity, moderate activity, and that's how it's accumulating your points for the day, points for the week. The other cool thing is there is just a bunch of videos. So we'll dive into the workout videos here. So you can see there's all sorts of workouts and programs. You can filter it by workout type. But if you look at the bottom right, how many workouts do you have available on your video library? You have 1,800 workouts you can choose from. You have strength, yoga, cardio. I think this is fantastic because a lot of people subscribe to channels to get yoga workouts. If you just want to see yoga, boom, 350 yoga workouts that go from anything from restorative to sculpting to flow to more intense. And so you can see all sorts of different things, duration, equipment you might need, dumbbells, target areas. It is just awesome when it comes to wanting to do workouts at home. You can follow a progression plan where you're following a workout that's going to give you specifics. It's going to have a pop-up screen. You're going to be able to follow a certain, activities for each day if you want to follow it on certain days. And it will even remind you if you want to start your program, if you need to be reminded to do a workout. So that's one of the things that is so feature rich when it comes to what this provides when it comes to activity. It will track your workouts, but it also can help you build an exercise regime, to help you focus on different areas, whether it's something intense or something not intense, whether it contains weights, contains body weight, all of those types of things. So you can boost recovery, you can focus on building muscle, you can focus on building strength. It just has everything if you want to build a healthy, more well-rounded life. So next up is sleep tracking. We'll look at how it summarizes your sleep tracking and some of those mindfulness or some of those meditations, those sleep-based meditations you can do. So let's dive into one thing I forgot to say is on this data screen. So we landed on the first time on the feed screen. Now we're landing on the data screen. You can see the 7 primary areas that it actually helps with. So now we're going into sleep. And so this is just a simple summary of how I slept last night, the start time, the wake time, and all the things in between. And if you look down at the bottom, you get all your stats. I really do like that I feel like the stages feel somewhat relatively trustworthy, and you can see the skin temperature actually gives you variations once it's established your baseline. That's helpful for overall wellness to tell if you're getting sick. But the thing that, again, I really love about this is if you're having a hard time falling asleep. So you can use a guided meditation if you want to get to sleep a little more quickly. You can have a meditation for gratitude before you fall asleep. So you're setting your frame, you're framing your mindset for going into being ready for sleep and having positive thoughts, and all that has significant impact. You can have it by feature type. So fall asleep faster, improve sleep quality, stay asleep longer. Just really, really helpful for bettering your sleep. So it's not just giving you stats, it's giving you things you can do, and you can layer this. There's different ways you can pull up these segments of your sleep, but it's actually trying to help you grow and improve your sleep, which is, again, functionally super helpful when you're wanting to develop. Now we're going to look at the nutritional aspects and how it builds menus for you and how you can focus on different cultural cuisines and different things you don't like, and it'll build you recipes and give you a checklist for what to buy at the store. Okay, next up is the nutrition. And when it comes to nutrition, you can see it has a full menu of different things that I could eat. Didn't plan a meal for yesterday because I just started it today. And then when you go into one of these things, you can see how long it takes. You can see where it's coming from. So you have different coming from strength-based programs or Weight Watchers. You can tell it to give you recipes from only one type of program, tell it to, include, vegan only. And then you can just add everything to a shopping list. And then if you wanted to go to the store and you want to check things off, you can go to your list at some point later and you say, okay, I got the miso paste in my cart. I got the maple syrup in my cart. I got the sesame oil in my cart. And you check it all off, and then it's all shows that you got everything that you need. Or if you go through your house before you go to the store and you say, I got this, 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 and this, and then you have like 6 things left. Just incredibly intuitive, which I think is fantastic. You can even share it if you have a spouse or partner or somebody who wanted to pick it up. So you have the recipe contents. It tells you all the directions, and then it gives you the calories and the content. So if you wanted to get a program that included breakfast, lunch, and dinner and follow that program, then you can have it build that for you. I just chose to do, dinners, but you can have it do anything. And, food metrics, again, meals on menu if you want to add everything. So you update the preferences, confirm the update, and it's going to give me a ton of recipes. So it's going to load me up with all the different things. So it is just very extensive. You can see other recipes to choose from in the classic style. You can say see more, and then I want to see even more recipes. But the best thing about this is not only it gives you a recipe that has super healthy things. If you check off that you did it, it's going to load those nutrient contents into your tracking. And then it even gives you the store list to go buy it. So I have oftentimes, you have to print the thing. You got to find, this gives you your own checklist. You can check off what you have at home, check off what you have and go into the store. So the nutrition, recipes, the menu, all of that is super intuitive and very comprehensive. Next, we're going to look at the mobility assessment results for me. It basically takes you through a few basic movements and then it assess using the camera to see how well you're doing the movements and what your mobility is like, and gives you an assessment with videos to improve. Now, the next time we're going to look at that I was pretty blown away by, especially because those of us in the CrossFit world talk about mobility a lot, movement. You can do a full assessment. So I got a good score, proud of that. And you can see full results, but we're going to go through this. And then, so I have weakness in certain deficiency areas. So you can see at the bottom, you have my shoulder mobility has got a deficiency. The shoulder stability has maybe got a deficiency, but my hip mobility, lower stability, those are all higher up. And so you can base your strength on your weakest area. So you can read about your weak area and why it is important to improve. But it's going to give you recommended workouts for overall mobility increasing. And it's going to give you specific workouts for your program, updated now because I did this mobility assessment earlier today. It's going to give me specific things to do to work on my mobility. And as much as it seems silly, mobility is a functionally important thing for overall life, for wellness in life. So full results, it goes through mobility scores. Okay, so here's where you can see where I was: optimal stability, posture, and program details. So that is the basic breakdown of your mobility. It tells you do it every 4 weeks. You just reassess. It all does this, like we pay for GoWatt or, programs that will give us recommendation. This does it built into the $80 device. This function I didn't test in depth, but I did test it before. It's the tone and voice sound function, where you can it'll pick up how you're sounding throughout the day and give you an assessment of happy, sad, mad, and how you might be coming across to others. Let's take a look. And you're not going to get a lot of really helpful things here because I didn't set it up. So I did set it up today, but it doesn't have categories of how much time per hour I was sounded super happy, sort of sad, and maybe angry. But it'll help you assess a little bit more understanding of how you may sound to others. We all think we sound one way, but we might not know how we sound to the people around us. And so this will gives you like a chart of how often, like, you posted a high positivity or a low positivity type of tone to your voice. And you can see like a summary. And it'll help you as well be aware of your own stress. Now, we all kind of maybe know when we had a stressful day, but it just helps to clarify that. You can see your phrases. It'll categorize how many phrases, conversations. You can record a conversation and see how you sounded if you want to have a conversation with your kids and have it assessed for you to see how your tone came across. Some of this may be subjective because I don't know if the system knows what a happy sound necessarily is, but it's just giving you feedback. And as long as it's reoccurring and it's following the same pattern of evaluation, you get feedback on the tone in which you are communicating with the world, which ties back into your overall mental health and well-being. 6, we're going to look at the body analysis feature, and I'm going to turn off all the data so you can't see the picture of me, because it'll give you a 3-dimensional, you can rotate it around to see your body in the buff, as well as your health stats with it. But we'll just look at it without my measurements because I'm not that open. Okay, next to last up, we're going to look at the body measurements. I did leave my measurements up there. I'm not super happy with 20%, but it shows you would normally see a 3-dimensional picture of yourself in your underwear or whatever here, and you can zoom around your body to see how your body looks. And then it has body fat, shows you the range you're in. So at least I'm in the green range, whatever. Not what I want, but I'm also in, wanting to build a strength program. So, and then it can help you create healthy habits to lose weight, to improve your strength. Obviously, this ties back into the activity and workout things we track. And you can see an estimate of how you might look down at the bottom, which we're not going to look at because it takes that 3-dimensional scan and it allows you to adjust the body fat percentage and show how your body will look if you lost weight. Super, super cool stuff to help evaluate, again, your total wellness and give you motivation to how your body might sculpt down when you shed pounds. Incorporate some of these healthy living exercises. And 7th, we're going to look at the meditation, the list of meditations and mindfulness episodes or mindfulness things. And there's been lots of studies that have proved that active meditation on a regular basis has a significant difference, makes a significant difference in your brain waves and your overall mental health. So let's look at is just the meditation aspects. So you have mindfulness, that gives you programs and it'll remind you at a certain time of day. Now, there's a lot of apps like this. There's a lot of apps that do this. This one just happens to be free and associated with an $80 AMOLED screen watch that can also track 6 other categories. And they're really good. I mean, I did a few of these things. So like the Celtic inspired music, that was kind of cool. It's just music. This is really cool. This one was really surprising to me. It's like solfeggio frequencies, and then you can go down to the bottom, and it says, like according to science, these frequencies help improve both mental and physical health. So you can just hear on your phone. You don't have to research solfeggio. The Amazon Halo team does it for you, and you just have to choose to do it. The other thing I just thought was really helpful was like one of the sleep-based ones where you start to set your mindset for sleeping. But you can see it focuses on cope with trauma, guided meditation for stress healing, cope with grief. It can have all these focus areas to mental health and mental wellness. And again, studies have shown it makes a big difference. So you can see there's 38 built-in meditations right now, but those are 38 programs. So in the programs, you get 1 week of 7 different ones. So you get a bunch of meditations. And then you can obviously see on the sleep side, there's guided sleep for meditation. It started this one. It's like you take, you're focusing your outlook when you're falling asleep. But just a ton of different helpful aspects for the wellness. So there you have it. So how would I summarize the Amazon Halo? I would summarize it again as the single most affordable and comprehensive wellness device on the market to date. That is a bold statement, but this is an $80 device with a bright AMOLED screen, 5 days of battery life that offers 7 different primary components and in-depth videos coupled with all of it to help you in your wellness journey. It is, again, as I said at the outset, it is not a training watch. It is not for high-intensity interval training just to track your heart rate. It's to track your wellness and your progression, and it also can somewhat track your workouts. So the total body, mind, health, wellness is everything that this is really going to provide. And at $80, a free year of subscription, $4 a month after that, I think it is genuinely a steal. So with that, it's a Figure Hunter. Thanks so much for watching.